those of you guys who are here, the topic that we're going to talk about today is boards part 1. As a second year myself, I am getting really nervous about how to prepare for it, what to do, where to even start. So this session is going to be really useful for everybody, every podiatry student who's out there and getting ready for the boards exam. So stay tuned. We're going to have our guest on here soon. All right, so let's have our guest on here. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you guys?
Good. Just surviving the quarantine.
Yep.
It's an excuse to like talk to people for sure.
Yep.
How's it going over there?
The weather is nice. I'm trying to study, spending time with my baby Jenna, and that's mostly like how we are spending it. Yeah.
She's adorable.
Thank you.
So just to give you guys an introduction, this is a third-year podiatry student, RussL. That's how you say your last name? Yeah.
Correct.
So she is in Arizona right now, and she is somebody who's very incredible because she told us that she was pregnant with her baby when she was taking her board exam. So if she could do it, we can definitely do it.
Yeah.
And I want to hear everything from her about how she did it, what she used, what kind of schedule she had, all of those things. So without further ado, do you want to add anything to your profile?
I don't think so.
Okay, so without further ado, let's get started with our first question. Like a lot of us right now, we're getting done with our finals. And we do know that like our board exam is July 1st, but I think like it's just so overwhelming for all of us. We just don't even know how to take like the first step. So it's like, okay, where's point A? How do I even start? So tell us a little bit about that. Like, how did you motivate yourself and get started?
So do you guys have summer classes?
We don't. We don't have summer classes, but some people do have rotation though.
Okay. For second years, they have rotations?
Yeah.
Okay, so for us, we have summer classes, and so we would finish the spring, and then we go into summer classes, and then we would have 2 weeks before the exam.
Okay.
And that's when I religiously started to study. So when the spring was over, I took a week off. Like, I just needed to like relax and just like to boost myself, because you just finished a quarter or a semester, however your school function.
Yeah.
You need to like reboost yourself. You need to relax and take that time for yourself. And then I started our upper class students. They kind of like they met with us, and they kind of told us like what to expect and how they studied, how they did it, and they recommended the 1 week off, and I definitely took that advice, and then I hopped into the exam.
When did you get done with finals?
We were done with our spring finals towards the beginning or mid-April, if I recall correctly, and then we would resume school 2 weeks after for summer classes.
Okay.
So we would resume school, and then a few weeks into summer classes, we would take 2 weeks off, take boards, and then go back to school to finish our summer courses.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So basically you guys had like some kind of like talk with upperclassmen where they kind of told you what to expect and things like that.
Exactly.
So,
after the end of spring break, they met with us. And that's when I actually started to consider boards, because I still wanted to finish and pass my spring.
Yeah. So personally, what was like after listening to all these like information and what to expect and things like that, like what was your first step? Like, did you collect the materials first? Did you make a schedule? Like, what was your first step?
So when I talked to my upper class students, I jot down what I thought was like useful for me. Like, okay, my upper class student A, for example, he told or she said, okay, this is how I approached it. That was my schedule. This is the material I used. So I was like, okay, those are my choices. And then I went, after we had the panel with the upper class students, I went online and I wanted to like read about it. So I went to this the Student Doctor, and then I went to YouTube, which I didn't find anything. And then I went to the APMLE website, and that's where I read about the exam. So I read about what day of the exam, I read about the exam, and I read about the exam. And those are important 3 steps to orient yourself.
Okay.
So the day of the exam, about the exam, and content of the exam. And that will get you started.
Okay. So first step for all of us would be like, just get on the website. Like, I feel like a lot of us feel like, oh, we kind of know what's going to be on the test. Like, we already like did the subjects, but regardless, we should still go on the website, read everything that like each of the 6 sections would include and all of those things.
Yes, okay. And I do have those links that I used on the APMLE website. I listed them under my recent video. If you can't find it, you can read when it says content of the exam, you would read through the exam bulletin. So yes, you do know that subjects, like what are the basic sciences covered, which is the exam content, but it's different when you read it and then you know what's the percentage of those basic sciences, because each basic science has like a percentage covered in the test.
Right. Yeah. So that kind of like got you started, huh?
Exactly, because to me that was like a foundation. I need to know, okay, what am I being tested over? How long is the exam? What do I expect the exam date? Because they might sound like simple steps, but when you have expectation, you know where to start. You will be little by little, you decrease your stress level. Okay, I have expectation. I'm concerned about this. Okay, this is how I'm gonna tackle it. Because if you are stressed and you don't know what you are stressed about, then you don't have a plan to control it. If that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. So like I feel like a lot of us also like would get freaked out as soon as they read like all the things that we have to know. So what did you do? Like, did you freak out at all, or you're just like, no, I got this?
I mean,
you seem like someone who's like, oh no, I got this. I can take care of it.
Well, you have to tell yourself, like I would encourage all of us, like all of my fellow students, to say that to yourself. Like, yes, it's normal to freak out, worry about it, and then be like, okay, I took my time to freak out. Now, how am I gonna face it? What's the plan? Don't just like freak out and then
Right. Just don't go in a hole. Like, freak out, give yourself the freak out time, but like pull yourself back together and get started on it. Okay.
So once I finished like familiarizing myself with the exam, the next step was, what is the material I'm gonna use? And those are like stepwise. So when I say learn about the exam and then I decided the material I wanted to use, it was not like a straight line in my head. Like there was like a lot of zigzag, and I'm like, okay, then a light bulb went off. I'm like, yes, this is what I need to do next. And then a zigzag line, and then that's what I need to do next. So that's why I wanted to do my video, and I was happy to talk to you guys, hopefully.
No, for sure. That was a really helpful video for sure. So like in terms of materials, like what did you use? I just feel like everybody has like so many suggestions about like, oh my gosh, like I use this, like, I don't know, like LEA flashcards, or some people are using Anki or Sketchy or something, and other people are like, no, don't worry about that, like use blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, how did you figure out what materials to use, and what did you personally use?
So that was another thing that it was not easy for me to decide. But long story short, I used 3 resources.
Okay.
One, I bought the USMLE Step 1 2019. I bought this book. About this book, it's important to know how this book is divided up into based on system. And then towards the end of the book, there is a quick overview on topics. I don't know if that's clear, but ask me if something is unclear. The second resource I utilized was the BRSs. This is physiology, but I have BRSs for like gross anatomy and biochemistry. Those BRSs I utilized, you would like quickly go through them. Quickly. Bolded, underlined, questions on those books are really good. tables and drawings. And then I used the school notes for something that I was not like certain about. I know this might be a vague statement. Muscle table, lower extremity anatomy, I used school material.
Okay. So,
and then,
like, just to give an overview, like the subjects that are included in the board exam would be obviously LEA, and then human anatomy, biochem, physiology, pathology, pharm, and micro and immune are kind of like pushed together, right?
Correct.
Okay. So then we have like the first aid book for step 1, USMLE step 1. And then, but you didn't buy the VRS books for all of those subjects though, right? Or
I have them. I had them, the BRMS.
Which ones did you utilize the most?
Physiology BRMS. That was like, and you don't have to like go and buy the most expensive one. I think even if you can find a free copy online, then just utilize that BRMS, because you really, the pictures did not change much. Like, I'm just giving you an example, like the hormone table did not change much in the endocrine, and like those kinds of things, they did not like drastically change. That's why like I was not like, you need to go buy the newest edition. The newest edition could be helpful in terms of like updated questions towards the end of chapters, but not necessarily concept wise.
Okay, that makes sense. So then like first aid, USMLE for like most of everything, but when it comes to and when it comes to like BRS books, physiology was the most helpful.
Yes. So
which one was the least helpful when it comes to the BRS books?
I thought those BRSs were really good because I used them for questions and bolded font and pictures.
Okay.
I did not use the BRSs for micro or immuno. Or path or farm. So micro immuno, I utilized USMLE and the sketchy micro. So I would watch sketchy micro video, and then I would follow with that video on USMLE.
Okay.
And then farm and path, I use the USMLE. That's why I'm saying this book is really important. It was like my Bible. Like I would refer that. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So USMLE is like a must-have, and then you can augment with BRS books. And physiology was the most helpful out of all of them.
Yes.
And when it comes to micro, sketchy was the most helpful. Was sketchy helpful for any other subjects other than micro?
That's a good question. Okay, I personally did not use sketch. I've looked at those videos, and those videos are like so long. I'm like, dude, I'm not watching those videos.
Yeah.
No way. I mean, you can still watch it on like 2 speed on like 1.75. My favorite was micro sketchy with USMLE. That was like my favorite. I watched every single video like 3 times, not in one setting. Like I would watch the entire set and then again the entire set and then again. And that's like a consistent theme when it comes to studying. Same thing with Born Vitals. I did not do Born Vitals only once. I did Born Vitals 3 times.
Okay.
If you cannot do it, I'm not saying go ahead and do it 3 times. Just don't do it once. Do it at least twice. And then lower extremity anatomy, do it 3 times. So twice when it's mixed embedded material, and then the third time just to click on that button where you can customize your questions on Born Vitals, and then just pick lower extremity anatomy and then do those questions.
Okay, that totally makes sense. We have a question from one of the viewers. Was PATH enough, or was first aid enough to study for the PATH exam?
Yes, definitely. Think about it. This USMLE is, the first aid book is designed for USMLE step 1. To me, it was helpful. I studied bone tumor off of it. This is like trending topic, bone tumor. School did give us the school review. As you are studying, you will when I was studying, I was doing the first aid and warmed vitals, and as time was passing by, my idea was like clearing up about what do I study about pathology, what do I need to study about pharmacology. Like a quick side note, pharmacology, do antibiotic, like this is no brainer. Do antifungal, blood pressure, beta blocker, alpha blocker, like this is like we all know it. Well, because in the middle of all like the stress, we'll be like, oh, what do I study? We all know it. So that's why I want you guys to take that 1 week off and do it. It's so hard to make that decision. I understand. But do it and you won't regret it.
So like how many weeks before or months before did you start studying? Or what was your day one?
My day one was after that week. So I finished my spring exams, because think about it, you still need to finish those courses. And as you are studying for your spring courses, in a way you are preparing for boards. I don't know I'm assuming you guys have like Path or Pharm or like, when you are studying for those subjects, you are studying for boards. So when you start preparing for boards, you'll be like, oh, we just finished talking about this chapter. So think about it this way. So finish the trunk, take your week off, and then my day one was when I resumed summer classes, which was like a month before boards. And then I was like just going easy. Like I gathered the material. I was like, okay, for example, sketchy micron. Okay, how many videos does a sketchy micron has? I don't remember how many videos, but I divided it up. 14 videos a day, you would be done in 2 weeks. And I pick your battle. That's the other thing.
Excuse me, sorry.
Bless you. No, you're fine. Pick your battle. Like some bacteria or certain organism, like it was not like I would go through it and I'm like, no, I'm not watching that video. So you make those decisions for yourself. Like viruses, certain viruses, you'd be like, no, I think I'll be good watching. I'm not watching that. It's not gonna
really like assess where you are as personal, like where you stand. So like if you feel like you know something really good, really well, like don't spend any time on it.
Like brush on it, still like review it in a way, because sometimes this is a tricky, because sometimes we like overconfident can trap us. So still like I'm using those sketchy micro examples, BRSs, because it's important. There are so many resources out there. There is Pathoma, School Notes, Khan Academy, a lot. So it's important to know, like, okay, did I use Pathoma during the school year? Was it helpful? To me, I looked at Pathoma once and I'm like, no. I'm not going on boards and be like, oh yeah, Pathoma might be good for me preparing for boards. No way.
That makes sense.
Yes.
So so far we talked about like, okay, you want to take a week off from like when your school ended. Then you want to kind of like plan out what you want to do, like go to APMLE and like read what you need to do. Resources to buy would be like the first aid USMLE step 1, and then we buy BRS. And you also mentioned board vitals, which is the place where like we have practice questions. So along the path of like studying, when did you start answering questions? Because that's something a lot of people emphasize, is that like, hey, no matter how much studying you're doing, make sure that you're always like doing practice questions. So like when should we start that? Like at what point? Like halfway through, or as soon as you start studying?
So board vitals, the questions?
Yeah. Or practice questions in general. Day one.
Okay. Because this is not an MCAT exam. It's not. You will read certain questions and you'll be like, oh, I know what this is. So board vitals, don't do it exam status. Like just do non-exam, no timer. So you can go through the questions and you can like, okay, what concept I'm not getting. I don't want you to take the numbers. Like for example, the sketchy micro, I said do 14 videos a day. I would push myself like 14 videos. Sometimes I would watch 7 or 10 videos. Other days I would watch 20 videos. So you will be able to like pick up. So
okay.
like,
So, but just have like a goal, basically, like have a structure, and then obviously there's wiggle room. Okay.
Exactly. It's important. And that's the other thing, because we can easily get discouraged. Be like, oh, the day passed by. What did I do? So create a Word document and do like, okay, May 1st, what did I do? I did 50 questions of this. I did a chapter of the BRSs. I did. So like when May 6th comes, you'll be like, okay, so throughout the week I've been reviewing those topics. So, okay, this is because this will keep your brain on track. It will tell you how much you've done and what you still need to done. It will tell you, okay, how many passes I've done over this certain topic.
So kind of keep a log of everything you have achieved. So like that keeps you motivated. They're like, okay, I've not done anything, and these are all the things
exactly.
Yep, that's a really good advice, because like you kind of feel kind of defeated, I guess. Like I'm my only experience is MCAT. Like I remember like feeling so defeated like midway, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't done anything. But that log definitely would have been very helpful.
It will help you, and it will tell you like, okay, so what did I do? Oh, I've done physio this chapter on the BRSs. Okay, so I've done this. Now this is going to be my second pass. And then when your brain tells you, oh, I don't know anything. No, I've looked at the material. I know it. So
that makes sense.
It's like a brain. It's a mind game.
Yeah.
That's
that
what
you're playing with yourself. That's crazy. So how many practice questions or practice exams did you take before the boards?
So Board Vital has 1,000 questions amongst all subjects.
Okay.
So my goal was like, okay, to go through everything. And once you go through everything, you can again customize your topics. To me, I would do mix. So I would pick everything, and then what was my goal for the day? Okay, say for example 150 questions. So it would allow you to like change how many questions you want to do. So say for example 150 questions, and then you would go through those questions at no timer. You would go through it. You will understand question, not get it right. Sometimes you get it right to make educated guesses. Questions that I did not get right and I wasn't able to spot it on first aid book. I would create a Word doc just for my notes on those questions.
Okay.
And then because one thing I did not do when I was studying for boards, I was like, I'm not taking any notes. No way. Everything
you've done that enough for the past 2 years. You don't want to take more notes.
So everything is in first aid, and if I want to take a note, I'm not taking it in multiple places. Right. So like say I missed an endocrine question. Putting it into the endocrine BRSs, and I would put it when that chapter question is. Okay. Or maybe even not take it. That's it. If you miss a question, put it on this on the Word doc and then move on. I'm flipping it through pages. I wanted to show you an example. Okay. What do I mean when I say I watched a sketchy micro and learn? Okay. So like this, I would watch, so this is micro section, and I would annotate, like highlight. Like I'm not gonna go back and learn every single line. I would just like learn, okay, so I would watch a video and be like, okay, RussL, I know this is important, I need to highlight this. Right. Something that you see in orange that might be in a Board Vital question. Okay. So like you hint yourself.
So you're not hardcore taking notes, you're just like highlighting important things here and there.
Yes, I'm not like pen and paper and jotting things down. I'm not doing that. If something that I wasn't, if something I'm not able to find in the BRSs, and you will come across those questions. Right. Don't worry about it. You will find zebras and beasts even in the actual boards. This is that was another decision I made for myself. I'm like, zebras are there. That's
Right.
fine. I'm gonna learn bone tumor. I'm gonna learn my antibiotic. I've studied this past 2 years. It's been dedicated for basic
Yeah.
sciences. I got this. So it's just like telling yourself because you know more than you realize.
Right. And I think like it all comes down to that. It's like we just feel so nervous, and like it is nerve-wracking for sure. And it's just like I feel like that stress kind of prevents us from like learning anything, or like taking on new challenges and things like that. Like, so that's something that I think we all should remember, that like, hey, we finished these 2 years, we got this, we're just gonna do it, and that should be it. So
Exactly.
where did you find practice exams, like full-length practice exams?
APMLE has, I think when you sign up for the exam, you can do, there is like 2 practice exams that you can use. I don't know if it was like a full length. I don't know, but the actual website does. So other than Board Vitals, APMLE, there was like 2 board exams that you can practice. I think it's like 70 questions each. It's not like a lot.
How many full-length practice exams did you take before the board part 1?
I did those questions on the APMLE website. I did Board Vitals. I did them, as I said, like 3 times, and the BRS is the chapter books.
So in total, it was just like 2 full-length practice exams that you took?
When you say full length, like you mean like those 25% lower extremity, 10% biochem?
Yeah, like the whole 205 questions.
I just divided it up based on Board Vitals, and I would assign myself a number of questions every day. That's why I did it.
Okay.
I don't think I ever did 205 questions in one setting. I think the most I did was 150.
Okay. So I guess like that's another thing that like we need to work on, because like our only I guess idea that we have of like big standardized tests is like MCAT, and like all of our questions are like, oh, are there full-length exams or things like that? Like, so what are some things that are not relevant to board exam that we did for like MCAT? For example, like we had full-length, we took like 8 or 12 full-length exams, right? So is that a thing for that, or?
No, the Board Vital is not like that. It's not
and
like
you don't
that.
need it either, is that?
You don't, no, because it's like 100, it's 205 questions. So I guess you can do Board Vitals, pick all subjects, and then customize it to 205 questions.
Okay.
And so that's one way to do it.
Okay.
But to me, the goal was to like review the material, do those questions, and I wasn't even worried if I don't perform well. And that's another thing. Personally, this is a decision students make for themselves. If I didn't, I mean, yes, I did track my my work on Board Vitals, but don't. It's not gonna reflect your performance. Don't worry about it. Don't be like, oh, I haven't been doing well, so maybe I'm not. One thing and that's like a hypothesis. It's worked out. I don't know. Don't quote me on that.
No.
If you score 50 to 60%
in all subjects.
Yes, all subjects, or however, like if you perform 60%, you should be fine.
Okay. That's really good to hear.
60%.
Okay, that gives me hope.
Here is the thing. And I really want to share this with you. It is, not all of us are 4.0 students.
Right.
And we don't have to be 4.0 student to do anything in life.
Right.
So
don't stress about it.
Don't stress about it. The one thing that got me going, and I really want to thank him, his name is Zach Person. I don't know if I'm saying his last name correctly, sorry with my accent. And he was so genuine. He's one of the upper class students, and he put himself out there in the class, in the panel. He was like, this is my GPA, and if I can do it, you guys can do it.
Right.
So this is the whole reason why I did my video, why I'm here on the interview, is because you don't have to be a 4.0.
No.
Even if you are a 2.5, one of my big sibs, and she's even like upper class students, and I was still first year student, and she put herself out there, and she told us, she was like, I took board step 1, I did not pass, took it second time, I passed, and I got the residency I want. So when she took it second time, she did pass, and she passed board step 2, and she applied to residency, and she did well. She got what she wanted. You can do this. You can do this. I'm not a 4.0 student. You will take the exam, you will pass, you'll move on, you'll do just
fine.
awesome.
Yeah, I mean, like that's what it is. Like GPA and all these ranks and things like that, like, seems so important to us right now. But ultimately, like, once everyone gets into residency, like, everything's gonna be like the same playing field, right? Like, you just go on to do your practice. Like, it's all the same. It's just becomes so stressful when you're here in school. So no, that's really good advice, that like, no matter what, the only thing you have to do is like pass board 1, part 1, and then just move on from there.
Yes, just put in the work that you need, okay? I know I need this amount of time. Some people will study for 3 hours and they'll do great. Some people need to study, like I studied, I want to say like 8 a.m. until 10 p.m. And I'm not saying go ahead and just study that, but I stopped in between so much.
Right.
I stopped in between, like, I'm not saying like I sit down from 9 to 10 p.m.
Yeah.
I just called it off at 10 p.m. And some of us may need more, some of us needs less. And that's another thing we need to realize about ourselves. Okay, it's okay if someone else is studying 3 days before the exam. I know how much I need to study. I know how much it takes for me in order to perform well, because that's key. That's key to know about yourself.
Right. Just like cancel out all the noises that are out there. Just
oh, my friend has done like 200 questions. Okay, mate, you don't know what's their plan, and just figure out your material, know what are the resources I want to do, and everybody will find their happy place. They will find it really fast. They will.
Yeah. I know, like, I don't know, like, if you made the schedule like on paper or like Excel sheet or anything like that. Like, would you mind sharing that with us at some point in the future?
Yes, I don't mind, but main thing is organizing the material. So, for example, I mentioned you need to count how many sketchy videos. Okay. So in order for me to finish in 2 weeks, that was something I made for myself. I need to finish in 2 weeks. I need to watch X number of videos in order to finish in 2 weeks. Physio BRS. Oh, Physio BRS, there are 7 chapters. I can be done in a week because I will do a chapter a week and then review that chapter, build it, underline tables, and move on. So, and the other thing I pulled up, I can show you guys. So I called this a rapid 7-day review. I don't know if you can see it.
It's really small.
Is it? Okay, so basically on the top, you can see I put board vitals and then the rest of the subjects. And then on the side, I have the date. I don't have the month. I just have like 7 days. And that happened to be the 25th all the way through the 31st. 7 days. So like lower extremity. Okay, what do I want to review in those 7 days? And then I have physio, like you can see physio, and then you go down like 7 chapters. Micro I have in gray because I'm like, I've been doing all of those videos. So like, okay, which organism least competent with, like which one I have been struggling, missing questions for. So, and then the night of the exam, I was mostly reviewing muscle table and things that I thought I was like struggling with. Muscle table and things you struggle with. And one last thing, because it's not easy to figure out this book.
No, not at all. Would you say that you did all the subjects every day, or?
No.
No, okay.
Yes, ideally I wanted to, and that's why I created the Word doc, because I would find myself, oh my God, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. Just keep the curve like distributed evenly. Okay. So like if my Word doc would say, okay, so I've been doing physio from the last couple of days, then maybe it's time to do general anatomy. Biochem, I barely touched it, but I'm not don't touch it. I'm not saying
that's my weakness for sure.
I'm not. Just before we move on, I wanted to show you guys this. It's at the very end of the first aid book, and it's called, the section is called, let's see, Rapid Review.
Okay.
Rapid Review, High Yield Systems. So this is like one thing you would do the night of the exam, because it tells you like very quick in a table format. And the reason why those things are in orange is because as I'm reading it through this, I'm like, oh my God, this is God. Yes, I had a question about this. I had a question about this.
Right.
You'll be amazed. So
no, that's really good stuff. So like to recap, it's that like as for now for us, like the first step would be for us to like attend any kind of like help or informational sessions at our school or anywhere else that are being held. And then next step would be for us to go on the APMLE website and read over all the information that we need to study for each subject, figure out the percentage and all those things.
Exactly.
Second step would be to take a week off. And then third step would be to kind of come up with a schedule for ourselves and
figure out the material that you need to use, and then skip.
So materials, the ones that you suggested is for everything else. For every subject, the best resource is the first aid, USMLE Step 1. BRS Physiology was the most helpful. Yeah. And then start board vitals from day 1.
And do them every day.
Do them every day. Okay.
Doesn't matter if you were crying, you were like, I haven't done anything. Do those questions because you've done something.
Okay. So
and
keep at it.
Yep.
Right. So like no matter what, like keep the momentum going throughout this process. Yep. And you will reach the finish line.
You will.
Yeah.
All of us have reached it. So you will.
Okay. So tell us, like, how is it going over there in Arizona with the quarantine, then with the baby?
Well, it's not easy, but it's doable. It's a team effort. I'm married, so like we work through things together. I have my mom to help me.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah, some of my classmates, they have like their wives who are staying home, so they would drop the kids there.
Oh, okay. That's really good. Well, thank you so much for joining us with such a busy life.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, you can count on us to ask you more questions for sure, because we still have so many questions. So
and feel free to do that. If there is a resource that's available for students to utilize, like Big Sieve, your page. Like I was watching Dr. Mountain video. I'm like, oh my God, this is God, because I'm going to that program.
Right.
Someone is offering help. Reach out for it. Don't hesitate.
Yeah. No, for sure. Well, thank you again for joining us, and we'll post the video that she has to get prepared for board part 1. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to let us know, and you can also reach out to her as well. Thank you so much again for joining us. Have a nice evening and happy Easter. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Easter. Bye.